So today we are going to see the art of the Middle Age. It's been 10th week. We only have 6 weeks left. Time flies. All right. So according to tradition, Jesus, known as the Christ, was born in Bethlehem during the reign of Emperor Augustus. In time, his followers would become so influential in world affairs that our common calendar takes as its starting point the presumed date of Jesus' birth, calling it year 1. As a matter of fact, the 6th century calendar makers who devised this plan were wrong in their calculations. Jesus probably was born between 4 and 6 years earlier than they had supposed. But the calendar has nevertheless become standard. The Roman Empire dominated the Mediterranean region from the 2nd century BCE, later extending its control of Western Europe and the Middle East. But by the 4th century, the empire was crumbling in the West. And Christianity was one of the numerous religions in the late Roman Empire, but it quickly became one of the most popular and well organized. Rome's attitude toward this new cultural force within its borders varied, and often the faith was tolerated, especially since it came to attract an increasing number of wealthy and influential people. At other times, Christians were persecuted, sometimes officially and sometimes by mobs. And one reason for persecutions was that Christians refused to worship the gods and godness of the state religion, including the emperor himself, in addition to their own god. Clearly, such people were a threat to the political stability and well-being of the empire. And Christianity's situation changed abruptly in the year 313 when the Roman Emperor Constantine issued an edict of tolerance for all religions. Not only were all faith now free to practice openly, but also Constantine himself patronized Christianity. And while battling his political enemies in 312, Constantine had a vision of a cross with the inscription in the sign concord. He interpreted this to mean that following Christian teachings and worship the Christian God would lead him to victory. He won the battle and converted to the Christian faith. So this is the arch of Constantine in Rome. His triumphal arch is a monument erected to commemorate these victories. It pictures the battle that secured his imperial title as well as scenes of past emperors' triumphs and personifications of victories. And this panel is picturing Constantine, and his court features small stereotype figures and drapery described with thick lines and limited spatial depth. So let's compare ancient Greece and Middle Age sculpture. So can you find the difference between these two sculptures? It's, pretty much clear. You can just tell me, anything you can find, any differences from these two sculptures. What's the
One is
difference?
like independent on his own, and I guess the other one is against the wall.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh. Very good.
I didn't know how to say that. Thank you, Cynthia.
Huh?
I said I was trying to find the words to say what Cynthia just said.
Yeah. So, you know what? The left one is older one. Can you believe it? This one is latest one. Uh-huh. So the left one is Greek, the ancient Greek sculpture, so which was made in the late 1st century BCE. But the implied motion of the sculpture shows very advanced technique of freestanding sculpture. And the skin and the muscle looks real. And it is hard to believe that the sculpture's material is marble. It looks, very soft. And also we can feel the dramatic emotions through this sculpture. Now feels like we are in the middle of the happening. Can you believe it? This is made before the century. On the other hand, the right one, so the look at the arch of the Constantine's sculpture. It looks like very flat sculpture, and it doesn't show any volume. And also, all figures in this sculpture depicted as not realistic and very simple. And feels like the advanced Greek technique was, going back to the Mesopotamian art, and even though this is made 400 years later since the left Greek sculpture had been made. The reason is the Christianity treat artists as craftsmen, and they don't want to make any figures realistic and idealized. And they didn't accept anything beautiful and idealized art, not other than worship of their God, Jesus Christ. So they don't care about advancement of artist techniques. And they only focused on the description of the Bible. That's why many of scholars have called the Middle Age as Dark Age in art.
Professor,
Yes.
I have a question. I know BC mean before Christ. What about E?
Uh, I forgot what was that. It was like was birth of I'm sorry, I forgot what was it.
Okay, it's okay.
Yeah, I'll let you know next class, okay? Yeah. That means like, Jesus, the birth of Jesus, but, I forgot what was the meaning of that exact meaning.
I think B mean before Christ. B
The
before.
birth of Jesus, yeah, birth of Jesus, and before of Jesus' birth, yeah,
Yeah.
something like that. I forgot.
Okay.
And the same thing was happened in painting as well. And all the stories about the Christianity continued for 1,000 years. And they described this baby, with the same proportion of adult, just to make it smaller. And this is another example of Middle Age painting. And the gold circles behind the figure's head are representing light. And let's compare the ancient Romance painting and Middle Ages painting. So like the comparison of sculpture, the ancient Romance painting is very realistic, but the Middle Ages painting is simplified. So to conclusion, the style of art in the Roman Empire had changed. The beauty of the human body was no longer important to artists. Now, art emphasized symbolism and narrative clarity, with signs borrowed from pagan art but repurposed with Christian meaning. The idealized bodies and individualized faces of the classical era had been replaced with stylized figures and generic facial features. However, their architecture techniques were flourished to build churches. So under Constantine's imperial sponsorship, architects raised a series of large and opulent churches at key locations in the empire. One of these was Old St. Peter's, built on the spot in Rome, where it was believed that Peter, Jesus' first apostle, had been buried. Christianity from the beginning emphasized congregational worship, and so a fundamentally different kind of building was needed, and one that could contain a lot of people. A multi-purpose meeting hall called a basilica, and it was the standard building types of Roman architects. So based on basilica, the architects of Middle Ages developed three types of architecture style. First one is Byzantine, and next one is Romanesque, and the last one is Gothic architecture. So let's see one by one. The Byzantine Emperor Justinian I was devoted patron of the art. He founded hundreds of churches, mosaics, and painting throughout his empire. Byzantine churches are grandeur with large scale, and it has dome on which is a hemisphere-shaped roof. And this is the inside of Byzantine church. And mosaic. Mosaic was a favored Byzantine technique. Byzantine artists have moved away from the naturalism and realism of Greece and Rome toward a flattened, abstracted style. So like artists of ancient Egypt, Byzantine artists strove to portray often complex religious doctrines and beliefs, not scenes from daily life. And the next one is Romanesque. The Romanesque period was marked by a building boom. Contemporary commentators were thrilled at the beautiful churches that seemed to be springing up everywhere. Later art historians called the style of these buildings Romanesque, for despite their great variety, they shared certain features reminiscent of ancient Roman architecture, including an overall massiveness, thick stone wall, round arches, and very vaulted and stone ceiling. And it has beautiful single arch windows like this. And the Gothic style. The Gothic style was started by a powerful French abbot named Sugar, who wanted to enlarge and remodel his church. The Abbey Church of Saint Denis near Paris. He came to believe that an ideal church should have certain characteristics. It should appear to reach up to heaven. It should have harmonious proportions, and it should be filled with light. To fulfill those goals, his architects responded with pointed arches, ribbed vaulting, flying buttresses. And it is ornate, linear, vertical elements that direct the eye upward. And it has stained glass windows so large. They seemed like translucent walls with the beautiful and exotic colors. And also their sculptures of Gothic style were made long, like this, very long, like their church's roof. So during the Middle Ages, architecture was flourished by building churches. These three styles are clearly different. So Byzantine architecture style is grandeur and large scale with dome and mosaic. And the Romanesque architecture style is simple and modern with round arch window. And the lastly, Gothic architecture style is sophisticated and extravagant with pointed arches, pointed roof, and stained glass windows. So that's it for this chapter. For better understanding the art of Middle Age, please read the e-textbook in Moodle Room. And we have a discussion today. So please go to week 10. Here, discussion 10.1. So this is today's topic. So the Middle Age was a time of strong religious belief. Select two artworks, each made for believers of a different religion, and contrast how the artists have emphasized the religious elements of the artwork. And answer here in this forum. Any question about this discussion? No question?
Professor.
No.
Okay, we're selecting two artworks from the
Other
presentation.
religion,
From where?
other different religion.
Okay, so where do we get these artworks from on our own?
Yeah, so it can be, you know, one of it from, you know, Buddhism, or one of it from, you know, Islam, you know, yeah, diverse, you know, religion. You can choose any artworks from different religion and just, you know, contrast, you know, what's the difference.
Okay, so other than Christian, you're saying?
Yes,
Two other than Christian?
yes,
It can be a Christian and there's something else?
yes, something else.
I'm saying, can it be a Christian artwork and another one?
Actually, originally I intended to you know, make this topic, you know, choose two different religion, but it's really hard to find two different religion. You can just compare, you know, choose one different religion, you know, and compare, you know, compare this, you know, the different religion with the Christianity. Okay.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay. Any questions? No? Okay.
So do we post the artwork picture on the forum?
Oh, yes, please. You know, for this discussion, you know, if you can find, if you can, you know, I know you can, you know, find from the internet. So if you can, it will be better to, you know, understand, you know, your, uh, your answer of this question with the image. So it's not mandatory. Any other question? No? All right. So if you don't have any other question, please begin to research other two religions and compare their artworks and answer this discussion, okay? Okay, so if you don't have any other question, you can leave now. Have a great day.
Bye, Professor.
Thank you.
Bye.
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 No one from Moodles has hit me up about the missing assignment.
Okay.
I emailed them. I didn't receive nothing back.
Give me one